bachelor boy who can make grown women go weak at the knees, and that's just in this room. Joining us today to tell us about his forthcoming album and tour, it's the Peter Pan of pop, Sir Cliff Richard!
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you have a few fans in the audience. You've got a very special treat for them today, haven't you, Cliff?
Well, I think it is. It's been a treat for me to do a whole new album singing with iconic, legendary singers. One of them has agreed to join us today, Freda Payne, and we're going to be doing the song that's probably going to be the single, Saving a Life. And I'll probably do We Don't Talk Anymore, if that's all right. Well, you remember how it goes? Call your friends, call your friends. I'll do the rest later.
Okay. That's just a wee teaser, but for now, that was Cliff Richard! And if you are crazy about Cliff and you want to ask him a question, then today is your lucky day. We're giving you the opportunity to send yours into us, and we could well be putting them to Cliff a little while later, whether it's about his music or his acting career, or you just want to know the secret of how he looks so good. Then drop us a line by going to our website, emailing us at loose.women@itv.com, or posting your questions on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Get them in before 1:15 p.m. today, Tuesday the 12th of July, and we may well be putting your emails to Cliff a little later on. Now, best of luck with that. Now, these days, teenage girls go bananas for pop stars such as Justin Bieber and Peter Andre. However, the wild screaming and crying that happens when they get a glimpse of their idols, it's not a new phenomenon. Our guest today had the same effect on females when he started out the music business back in 1958. However, the difference with him is that 53 years later, women are still acting as crazy when they see him now as they did back then. Please welcome Sir Cliff Richard!
Oh, you girls touch on all the subjects, don't you?
To get on when you heard that last one.
Yeah, I couldn't wait. I keep away from all of that, you know. Okay. But if you've got any addresses, let me have them and I'll be sure to stay away.
Okay. Now, we saw then some brilliant videos. I mean, everybody has, I suppose, their Cliff moment in time. You know, you have members of the audience here who remember you so from the 60s. My era, I suppose, was the 70s, or, you know, the songs that you heard then. Well, do you have a particular favourite era?
I think the time that I enjoyed most was when I late 70s and the 80s, when I worked with Terry Britton, who wrote things like Devil Woman,
yes,
and Alan Tarney, who wrote We Don't Talk Anymore. It was a fantastic period, and at that stage I was also being produced by Bruce Welch, who was a wonderful producer. So you get all those elements together, and it's embellished.
Do you think as well, obviously you were...
What am I trying to say?
Imprinted. You were so young when you first, you know, blasted onto the music scene. Do you think that you were of an age then that you enjoyed it more?
No, in point of fact, funny enough, we did enjoy it. Of course, when you get started on something like that, we were all so young, barely out of school, really. We actually, my first record I made when I was 17 years and a bit. So we really were very young. What was exciting then was being something that you only dreamt of. That was the big thing. But as the years went by, I found that I enjoyed it much more when we had a proper PA system. You know, when the lights didn't just go on and off.
Yeah.
So you can do a kind of production, and I found myself enjoying it far more that way. Having the monitoring systems that you do in TV studios now, they just weren't there in those days.
And also the audience could hear you a lot better, because I remember my mum went to see you in the 60s. I remember she was saying, and everyone was screaming and I couldn't hear them at all.
No. Well, that's the difference between the PA system that you have, because if people want to scream, that's okay, but you just say to the guy, if they do, put the sound up louder.
Yeah.
So there's complete control. But fortunately, my folks give a screaming welcome, and then they all run out of breath. The Eurovision years, I mean, I only did 2, mind you, and of course I lost them both times, although, did you read that bit? Was it a couple of years ago? A Spanish lady was making a documentary about Spain, and she said she had irrefutable evidence that I had won that. Oh. I'd won it by a couple of points. But no, I hadn't won it by a couple of points. I would have done, had he not, apparently, bribed some jurors to...
Shocking.
So, whenever I sing that song now, I say, you know, this could well have been the winner.
That'll be headlines tomorrow.
It will. Now, I touched on the fact that you've worked through the ages and different musical styles. You're moving in a completely different musical direction at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, but I do, as fans know, I've changed quite a bit. You know, I can always remember when I did Move It, the rock and roll stuff, High Class Baby, and then when I released Live and Doll, they went, oh, he sings a sort of country style. And I'm thinking, well, it's just pop rock, really, all of it. But I did make big changes, moving into Devil Woman, that sort of period. I just did last year a jazz album. I found as I got older, too, you start listening to lots more things. I think because you don't find them too competitive, because you think, oh, I'm not in that world, they're not in my world, why shouldn't I listen to it? And I found I loved it all, so I managed to do that. And then Gloria Hunniford rang me, and she was with David Guest, and she said, I've been talking to David, he's got this idea of you doing an album of soul music. Anyway, I talked to him and I said, look, if you can really get hold of Freda Payne and Candy Staton and the Temptations and the Stylistics and go on, I will have died and gone to heaven. So I didn't say yes, I didn't say no. I said, if you can get it, I'll be there. And he did, he organised it all. I went to Memphis and also New York, and it was a fantastic treat. Because, you know, when you hear your voice alongside Percy Sledge or Roberta Flack, you know, I'm thinking, oh, my goodness.
It's not that you haven't done soul before, though, have you, in that sense?
Well, in one sense, soul and rhythm and blues, blues, all of that kind of played a part in creating rock and roll. There's an essence of all of it there. So it's not that far removed, but when you sing with some of these black soul singers, what's come across to me is they've got different kind of vocal cords anyway, I realise that. Theirs are more like concrete, and mine's like weak flour paste. No, well, I say thank goodness for microphones, because in the end, you go for a quality of sound, but some of these singers are so fantastic. They could almost be opera singers. And it's almost as they could scream a note and then whisper a note. It's fantastic singing with them. I loved it. And to hear myself singing with these, I mean, I played the album now a couple of times, and I'm thinking, I can't believe that's actually me and Roberta Flack. Although Roberta was funny. She was coming, I had done my part to the song. She was coming in the next day, so I thought, I'll go. I arrived, and Valerie Simpson, who was producing it, went, no, wait. And I said, why? She doesn't want to be heard singing bad notes.
Oh, that's reassuring.
No, but I understand that, because I've done bad notes all my life. No, but what Roberta was saying, she didn't know the song, and therefore she was creating her part. So therefore you try things and go, oh no, that's wrong. Okay, so I understood that, but it was so funny. I left and went to Starbucks and got a coffee and sat on the streets, because nobody recognised me in New York. They're all walking past me. I'm thinking, yeah, you know, I've got an album coming out.
Well, people at home, you can go and stick the kettle on for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, as such as you like, because Cliff is going to be sticking around. He's going to be here in practice. There's more, ladies, there's more, because Freda Payne, as mentioned, is going to be joining us right here for a chat and performing alongside Cliff. So we'll see you in 3. Welcome back to Loose Women, and I'm pleased to say that Sir Cliff Richard is still here. Not only that, no, we hired them.
You advertise?
Yeah. No, they get a free bun and a drink. Not only that, but a true soul legend is in the building. Take a look. Please welcome Freda Payne. And you know, if you'd come back to us a split second earlier, you'd have seen her snogging us all. Lovely to have you on the show, Freda.
Oh,
welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, how did you two get involved together to perform on this album? Had you met each other before?
Well, David Guest is the one who introduced me to all of them. I mean, you've known David for years, haven't you?
For years.
I mean, I'm so grateful to him.
Yeah. Well, David, and I have to give him credit, because he's the one that picked the song for me to sing, the duet, which was written by Lamont Dozier's son, Bo Dozier. Mwah, perfection. And David said, this is the song, so I'm happy for that. I'm grateful for that.
Well, I'm grateful for the whole thing. I mean, I would never have had this album had he not suggested it. And then all his friends, you guys in America, and I just had such a great time. The studio, people were walking in and out. Freda Payne, okay, finished. Next.
Wow. And you're going to be going on tour. Will everyone be going on tour with you?
I'm not sure if everyone can make it. David's not producing the show, so I thought I must do it, though. You know, and I knew Freda was going to be around anyway. And I know that Lamont's going to do it. And you know, Fifth Dimension, Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo. They're coming along. And I was saying to you earlier, I didn't realise how difficult it was to organise this larger group of people. They're not just icons, these are working icons. They're not vegetating somewhere in Memphis, are they?
I know. And it's really all over the world.
It's hard to get it all organised. I mean, even the Shadows and I, my band, it took us 18 months to get them together, and there's only 3 of them.
So on the tour, are you going to be doing a mixture of your new stuff and some of the stuff through the ages? What can people expect?
Yeah, I'd like to obviously feature the new stuff. And when Freda comes on and sings with me, she'll get a chance to do Band of Gold, maybe something else. It's the same with all of them. But I know my audience has supported me over the years. They'll support me in this. They'll be really thrilled to see you, Freda. I can't tell you. They're going to love it because you all remember these songs, don't you?
Yes.
And these are the younger group.
I've seen you loads of times, haven't I?
I know. I know a lot of times, especially David's production.
And she is absolutely amazing, and especially live. But how was Cliff though, with his, you know, because you've all got such a great soul sound. How was his soul voice? Was it? Did you have to coach him?
You know, Cliff is a professional, and that shines through because he he adapts himself to it, and it kind of like everybody kind of like just blends it together. And then Lamont, who's produced most of these songs, he has a knack of bringing it together and also letting us know, okay, you got to do it a certain way and give it a certain treatment. And I think we all adhere to that, his advice. You know, that's one thing. He knows how to follow direction.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm going to direct you two over to our performing area because we'd like the two of you to perform together now for us, if that's all right. Thank you so much. Give me a gentleman. Performing the song Saving a Life from his forthcoming album, Soulicious, it's Cliff Richard, accompanied by the soul sensation that is Freda Payne.